want to wear it.
Can you tell me a story?
Oh, really? Let's think. I guess I was 12. It's kind of a sad story. Is that okay? Well, anyway, it was Christmas. And I had been dreaming and dreaming about what I was going to get for Christmas. And my grandmother, she had said some things that made me believe that I was going to get this dress of my dreams. I'd found it in a catalog, you know, and I'd leave it laying around. And so then Christmas morning came. Now you got to understand that this is my favorite grandmother. And I opened up the package and I burst into tears. Outrageous sobs. Because she gave me these weird pedal pushers that had a diamond shape on it. They were horrible. They were totally horrible. And as I grew older, and I'm telling you, I had to wait years to have this realization, was that my grandmother didn't have the money to go and buy that dress. And so she had purchased something that had the colors of the dress in those pedal pushers. But I was too young to know that. And for years, I kind of held that against my grandmother. Well, that's one story of my youth. What do you think?
It's sad and beautiful at the same time. Do you feel differently now for your grandmother?
I just love her madly.
Yeah.
I just had that little time. Because when we're young, things that hurt us, it's only two ways. We either forget them the next day or they're there for a long time until whatever lesson we were supposed to learn from that moment occurs. I think. Well, what's a story about you?
Maybe that's for another video. Do you want to tell me a story while I play you music?
Yeah, story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like once upon a time, there was a kid that was walking around the street, and then he heard like a little noise, and he started trying to figure out where the noise was coming from. And then he walked over, and there was some rocks and some plants, and he started like looking through the bushes and moving some of the rocks around. And then he saw a little worm in there. And he realized that the sound was coming from the little worm. So then he got the little worm, and he was like really excited. So then he went to his house, and he wanted to show his mom. He was like, "Mom, this little worm is making sound." And his mom didn't listen to him. She was like, "Worms are nasty. They're dirty. It's like, don't touch them." So then he was really sad because he thought that it was beautiful that the little worm made sounds. So he went back outside. He started looking around for more little worms and more sounds that came from there. He made a lot of friends in the garden where the worms were. And he wished that he could go back home one day. And that his family, his parents, could listen to what he had found. So that's the story.
Damn. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
That was awesome, man. Sorry about that.
No, please don't be sorry. Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to play.
Do you have any interest in telling a story over some music?
A story?
Yeah.
Like anything?
Yeah, any story.
Well, my English is not great.
That might make it the story better, actually.
Really? One time, there was a little penguin with his family hanging on a very, very snowy day. Penguin was trying to climb a mountain, but it was so snowy. It was so dark. He couldn't. Then his father came and told him, "What's the rush? Why do you want to climb the mountain right now? It's dark. It's not great weather. Why don't you just wait for a little bit until the sun comes out?" And the penguin tells him, "I just want to do it right now. I want to go right now." And his father tells him, "In life, you're gonna understand that sometimes it's better to wait and to be patient to be able to accomplish certain things." So the penguin took a breath in, and then he relaxed, went to bed, and then the next morning he woke up to see the sun, and the weather was perfect. And then he climbed the mountain. I'm sorry.
That was great. Would you like to tell me a story?
Hell yeah. You like records?
I love records.
Yeah, so I worked in record stores pretty much all my adult life. You know, it's different now because originally I was working at like a small town record store and stuff, and it was really chill, and it was like the only kind of cool place in town. And then moving out here, the only places that people kind of like pay attention to are all on like Hollywood and just like along like the actual boulevard and stuff. So it's a lot different. It's a really great homeless scene out there right now, and it's kind of what most of my job kind of consists of, is just having to kind of either like deal with them or talk to them, stuff like that, or sometimes ask them to get out of the store. But I feel like it kind of like makes the day a lot more interesting, just them coming in and stuff. I think the funniest, coolest thing that happened was a 80-year-old man came in naked, some very, very, very tasteful tattoos, some big gray Santa beard. And I heard him coming because I heard people kind of screaming as he was coming up to the front door. And yeah, he stops right at the front door, right at the crack of it, spreads out his legs, spreads out his arms. And then he sees me and he looks me directly in the eye and he says, "Eminent domain." Starts crackling, laughing, freaking out. He doesn't come in the store though, he's like a vampire, you know, you have to like invite him in before, you know, he can actually walk in on his own volition. You know, he sees it, he just starts laughing, and then he runs away. That was probably like the most eventful day earlier that day, some dude roundhouse kicked a sign that we had outside and shattered it into a million pieces. That was pretty cool. I had a coworker there, and I kind of held up the sign and I asked her, what do I do about this? Because this is like my 3rd or 4th day working on Hollywood, and she just looked at me and she shrugged, and I called my boss, and he's like, yeah, you can just go like find some tape and put it all back together and fix it. And I just kind of said, I kind of don't want to do that.
So my father was born in the early 1940s here in Los Angeles, and he, as a teenager, would drag race his car out in the desert, and he would tell me that he had been in 3 rollover accidents and got out without a scratch. So you know those that movie Grease, and there are those the gangs that are car clubs, but they're really gangs. Those were real, and he was in one called the Freelancers. And when I was a little girl, he would tell me these stories, and I found an old license plate of his that said #1 Kamikaze, or Kamikaze #1. I don't remember, but, and I asked what Kamikaze meant. And when I found out, I thought, well, that's terrible. I don't want that to happen to my dad, and that's bad. And so I threw it in the garbage, and I was so proud of myself. And one day, Dad was wondering where his cool license plate that my mother got for him went, and I told them I threw it in the garbage. And he looked so sad, and I felt really bad. So that pride turned into whoopsie daisy, I'm so sorry. But I don't know, I just like remembering my dad as a badass. He used to drive Harleys without a helmet, because there are no helmet laws in Arizona. And he would drop me off at high school on his Harley with his aviator sunglasses on, with a pistol strapped to his bike on the side that everybody could see. And all the boys said, Aubrey, no one will ever mess with you because we're terrified of your father. And I thought, oh man, but now I kind of like that. But he passed away about 5 years ago, and it wasn't in a car accident or a bike accident. He got COVID, but he lived a good long life, and he's still with me now, protecting me still.
Listen to this, man. We're eating, they say, 15 million cows a day. That's what we're eating. Where's the hides from these cows? Because I'm having a hard time finding places that sell leather at all. And this is a lot of leather. 15 million hides a day. I say 10 square feet for each one. So that's 150 million square feet. I don't see it existing. And it's not the kind of thing you can just make it disappear. So what are the possibilities of this? Did they invent a cow that has no skin? I doubt it, highly. Or are we eating something other than cow? I don't know.
Do you guys want to tell a story while I play this in? You can listen. You can just, yeah, okay, I'll play you a little something. Thank you guys. Have a good day. You just start telling the story while I play.
Okay. Once upon a time, There was a man with golden wings. He believed he could save the world in all of its beings. He loved and loved and gave with all his heart in a land so pure, but he had to stay smart. He believed healing the world with his music could share the love and light. He believed in a higher purpose. He believed music could save, could heal, could brighten your day. We all wear masks sometimes, but it's okay. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much,
No
man.
problem. That was awesome.
You rock. Do you guys have any interest in telling a story?
We're telling a story, or you're telling us a story?
You tell a story to me while I play the music for your story.
Wow.
You can do
Yeah.
it. Could be anything.
Inspiration for your story. Give him a theme for a story.
How you two met?
Tell the story how we met. Once upon a time. It's very sad. I was going through a lot.
Okay, I'll tell it. I was sitting on a hilltop and I see this woman crying next to me, and she looks very familiar, so I went over and said, like, what are you sad about? And then she told me that she was feeling really sad because she was going through a breakup, and that's, yeah, just commiserated with that.
That's her, man.
And that was it? That was you?
I was crying on a hilltop and glad you can talk to me.
Wow.
Let's go with ancestral curses, right? Like one thing that you pass on to your family, pass on to family. So I come from a long line of a drug addiction, a lot of incarceration. So I myself, 25 years of active addiction, 12 and a half years in prison, and my addiction took me to a place where I've never been so low in my life. I have 4 children who I love dearly, who, because of my addiction, were taken away from me. And for two and a half years, I still continue to get high, even though everything in my heart was for me to get my kids back. And then one day, the CPS woman came and tell me that in 2 weeks I'm going to go to court, and my parental rights were going to be diminished forever, and my kids were going to be fostered out in the system. And that hit especially hard when I myself have come from a lot of trauma, a lot of sexual abuse as a minor, as a child. So I knew that when my kids got placed into a system and taken away from their father and their mother, I knew what their future held. And right then, in that moment, even though I was high, talking to a CPS woman, everything in my life changed. Everything. And I saw the outcome of what my life was going to be. Because I knew that if that were to happen, there would be no purpose for me to be on this earth while my children were going through whatever kind of misery and anguish they were going through. So right then is where I turned my whole life around. And me and my significant other, we got clean together, which is statistically does not happen. 9 times out of 10, there's always one partner who cannot get on the same page, and we beat the odds. I've been out of prison for 13 years. I got my kids back, and then the beauty of this is that my mom, also 30 years of active addiction, saw what we were doing, and now she jumped on board. And so my chick has 4 years, I have 3.5, and my mom has 2. possibly ever have.
Bro, that's amazing, bro.
Thank you.
And guess what? I'm sober too.
Are you? Oh, you got, bro.
6.5 months.
That's bro. Come on, dude. The struggles, you know what I mean?
That's amazing,
Do it.
yo.
That was
So that's a real
amazing.
story for you.